So I showed up to this interview fully prepared to drag toxic men. I had notes and jokes. I had trauma. And then Shiri said, actually, I was the problem. And I have never respected someone more in my life. Welcome back to No Hard Feelings. Kinda. Therapy is expensive, so share your chaos with me for free. I'm JoJolyn, your emotionally curious but occasionally petty host. And if you listened to part 1 with Shiri, you already know she's funny, sharp, ADHD powered, and very comfortable telling the truth. What I did not know is that part 2 was about to flip my entire outline upside down, because I went into this episode ready to talk about post-divorce dating from the angle of how do we avoid the players, how do we spot the red flags, and how do we protect our peace. And then Shiri said, oh no, I wasn't dodging the players, I was the player. So naturally, this made me reflect on my own life, because I think most of us like to believe that we are the emotionally evolved one in the story. We're the healed one and the mature one, and we're the one who communicates. Until you realize that you've definitely said, let's just see what happens, which is adult code for I enjoy the attention, but I will disappear if this requires effort. Or if you've ever sent a text that says, I'll let you know, with a smiley face, which we all know translates to, you will, in fact, not be let known. And I think what makes this conversation so good is that it's honest, because post-divorce doesn't just create wounded women. Sometimes it creates women who are finally free, finally confident in choosing. They're finally not over-explaining themselves. And sometimes that looks like ghosting a nice guy you really never had any intention of seriously dating. In part 2, we get into what happens when you're not the victim in your dating story, the power dynamics after divorce, the thrill of choosing instead of being chosen, and the very fine line between empowerment and chaos. Shiri owns it. She laughs about it, and she explains it. And honestly, it's refreshing to hear a woman say, I had fun. I wasn't ready. I didn't owe anyone a wedding. So buckle up, because if you came here expecting how to survive players, you're about to learn how to survive becoming one. So if you listened to Shiri's last episode with me, you already know we had so much fun. Like, we probably should have wrapped this up, but instead we unlocked a whole other conversation kind of fun. And at some point we both realized, oh, dating after divorce deserves its own episode and its own warning label, because dating after divorce is not starting anew. It's like being released back into the wild with trust issues and PTSD. I don't know about you all, but I didn't enter dating hopeful and excited. It was more like showing up to an appointment I've been dreading and hoping the doctor and I don't hate each other immediately. So this episode is about dating after divorce, the good parts, the bad parts, and the moments that make you go, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Hey, Shiri, how are you?
Hi, what up, JoJo? How are you?
Doing great. I'm so excited for us to dig into this topic today.
Yes, so pumped. I feel like we're going to have so much to talk about.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Well, so obviously we got to start a little bit with the good, right? Because there's surprisingly there is some, and you
Yes.
know, I feel like the good sometimes kind of shows up quietly, like because the green flags, we almost feel like they're suspicious because we're not used to them, like they're sort of
Mm-hmm.
very out of our norm. So for me, like the good part of dating after divorce, even though it took me some time, like it didn't come immediately, but was
Mm-hmm.
clarity, like where, I don't necessarily romanticize confusion anymore. Like if I don't understand what's going on, then it's just not for me kind of thing.
Yeah,
Did you feel that way too?
I did. And I feel like because divorce was already the scariest thing that I'd ever done in my life, I was able
Yeah.
to approach just everything kind of fearlessly. And it's like, well, I had already committed my life to someone that eventually kind of told me that they hated me. So I was like, well, I'm not, there's nobody that could possibly hate me more than this individual. So it's like,
Right.
well, fine. So it's like, oh, well, I'm fearless. I can go out into, like you said, go out into the wild, and however I'm received is great, because what could
Yeah.
be worse than that? So yeah, I liked
Yeah.
that space of operating from that space of clarity and fearlessness. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like I didn't even really think about that myself, but you're right. That yeah, what could be worse than what we just got out of, like what we were just in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like for me, I've been married and divorced twice now. So
Hmm.
mostly after my first divorce was where I really had a lot of confusion immediately because I'd been out of the game for so long. And, now all of a sudden dating apps are a thing. And, it wasn't before I got married. And,
Hmm.
even just like, I think my mentality, I wasn't sure where I fit because like, I only knew dating from when I was younger. So like
Yeah.
I had to relearn that, and I was actually really surprised too that like even at a slightly older age, um, men still play games, and do like test boundaries and, you know,
Hmm.
different things like that. So where now it's like I needed to really hone in on like the fact that now I can see the difference between like an unemployed grown man with like no assets.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like a waste of time versus, a free spirit rebel who's, so close to making it big with his garage band. Like, you know,
Hmm.
now I can see
Hmm.
the difference. Now I know. So, and really that stuff was so exhausting. Like, I feel like divorce really sharpens your radar. Like, did you notice that?
Hmm. Yeah, I did. And I'm gonna just preface today's convo with, um, if anyone was doing the terrorizing and dating post divorce, it was me. And that is what I absolutely like loved about dating after divorce. And I mean, I feel like it was the universe just recalibrating itself. Where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I got so much shit. Like, let me put some shit out into the world. So I mean, really, I was really practicing like true irresponsibility, because I've always just, I was raised an only child. I have three half brothers, but I primarily live with my mom. And so when you're an only child, here we go with this ADHD tangent, but I promise you, just get in the car and ride with me. But when you are raised an only child, you're around a lot of adults. So typically, your emotional intelligence is high, your EQ is
Yeah.
high. You're always looked at as one of the most responsible individuals in the room. And so I started, going through things in my marriage and saying, okay, well, in order for marriage to work, both people have to be married. The individual didn't want to be married anymore. And I'm like, well, shit, I don't think I want to be married to you anymore either. But I
Hmm.
also, in that space, I said, you know what? I'm tired of being the most responsible person where it comes to
Yeah.
like any type of thing that you have to do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be the antithesis in some ways. You know, I'm still going to pay my bills, but I'm going to be the antithesis of what I've been for these 30 plus years. So,
Yeah.
you know, having conversations with men dating before I got married or dating in my marriage, right? About, you know, accountability. And if you say that you're going to do something, you need to do it. Well, I turned that shit on its head. And, you know, I'd say, hey, you know, let's get together. And I wouldn't stand anybody up, but I may not answer their phone call or I may not do this, that, or whatever. And for me, it gave me real power, which is what I feel like a lot of us women need to keep in mind is like, we run this shit. Like they
Hmm.
literally do, you know, all these pony tricks for our attention. And right when
Right.
we turn our head, it's like, oh, then they're going to act right to do whatever they need to do to get our attention again. So, you know, like my good
Yeah.
auntie in my mind, Maxine Waters said it, reclaiming her time. I reclaimed my time. I reclaimed what was mine.
Yeah.
So, um, I'll probably get a lot of eye rolls where I'm like, oh, my dating experience post divorce has been phenomenal. But I mean, it really has because I really pushed the boundaries on like
Yeah.
what it should be or what it's expected to be. And I just have chosen to not let those things be a part of my reality. So
Yeah.
I've been very intentional about how I've dated. Of course, you know, I'm in a very serious relationship now, but when I was dating casually, I was very intentional
Yeah.
about how I wanted to terrorize men. Yes.
I love that. And I love that you're so honest about it too, because I think that's a really great, like it's almost giving women another option, you know, like one that we don't
Mm-hmm.
naturally think about because I know I didn't, you know, like for me, I had so many things going on in my head, you know, of like, I'm trying to heal from the marriage and divorce and all that nonsense. And now
Mm-hmm.
trying to find like my footing with being a single mom and dating and all that good stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it ever occurred to me to like kind of how you did, like, you know, say, hey, I'm going to do this my way and the way I want to do it. And
Yeah.
I love that. I really love, I wish I would have, you know, really thought of that, you know, thought of it that way. But, you know, like
Yeah,
for
for
me, you know,
sure.
yeah, like, I mean, I still kind of, you know, in the beginning anyway, got pulled into like guys who played some games and things like that. And, you know, I feel like too, there's that, I don't really know what to call it, but like, there's a lot of truth to the rebound. Like, you know, your first
Mm-hmm.
guy that you kind of talk to
Mm-hmm.
or have any type of relationship with, that I just latched on and for no reason. Like there was
Yes.
nothing about
Yes.
him remarkable.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I do agree with the latch because I was latched for a little while until, you know, I unlatched and unhinged.
So,
And it was
yeah,
great. Then I was like, okay. I was like, okay, done.
great.
And
So you did have that like initial kind of feel, you know, like you started to go
oh,
down that road and then changed it.
for sure. Like definitely a rebound situation with someone that like, you know, when I was first introduced to my new life as a divorcing individual. But you
Hmm.
know, it was fun. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll hang out in this until it's not fun anymore. And
Right.
so and it's, you know, I'm very spiritually aligned where I will ask for things and I'm one of those people where it's like, okay, I'm not going to ask God. I'm not going to ask the universe for something where I'm not ready to receive it. And I remember just the situation kind of had me in a chokehold. And I was talking to my best friend one evening, of course, because she's my emotional support human. And I said, I need to get out of this situation. I said, I need something to happen where it's going to make me angry. And she's like, well, why do you need something to make you angry? Like, you're just a light person now and, whatever. I said, because I need something to infuriate me so that I don't like try to give second chances or go back. Because I will
Yeah.
say this, and any man that I've ever talked to can attest to this. The worst thing that I can ever do to you is leave you alone. It's not, putting sugar in your gas tank or knocking out your windshield or emailing your boss. Like, literally the worst thing I could ever do to you is leave you alone because I'm just an instant upgrade. And so it's
Yeah.
so funny because that same evening it happened where I'm like, you know what? He's not answering his phone. I'm just going to pull up over to his house, which, you're always taking a risk doing that. But I said, that's just the kind of person I don't mind fucking around and finding out because I'm like, okay, at
Yeah.
least there's no questions about anything.
Right.
So I
Right.
pull up, I'm on the phone with her. I was like, oh, there's definitely a car over here at the house. And it's like some cute little mini SUV. So of course it's a woman's
Yeah.
vehicle, whatever. But I got the answers that I needed so I could leave. And of course, he was so stressed out because he's cosplaying as this player. And I'm like, you can't
Mm-hmm.
cosplay being a player with an actual player. You don't even know how to do things because, this whole time I'm dealing with you, you're just my favorite. You're not my only. So I was able to,
Uh,
relieve myself of that, drive home and get on FaceTime with my other, man that I was talking to at the moment and able to pivot and whatever. So yes,
yeah.
I do agree that first rebound individual, you will just be latched on and it's like, why in the heck did I do this?
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like this is totally off brand for me, but it's fun and it makes great stories to tell future grandchildren, and it is what it is.
That is so true because I think there's something crazy too where you realize like, why am I being triggered by someone that like I don't even really find that hot?
Not even on their best day and your worst day. Never.
Right.
But you just get these like dopamine hits because you've been so like dopamine barren for years. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I've gotta do something. And it's invigorating and exciting in a different, non-dangerous way, compared to your marriage. So it's just like,
Right.
oh, just more and more, So,
Yeah. Yeah,
God
for
bless us.
sure. I know, right? I know. Now, when you were dating, because I know you said you're in a serious relationship now, did
Yes.
you primarily use dating apps or did you go out and meet people or a little of both?
Dating apps, never. And I don't
Me
have anything against them. I
too.
love the internet. I
Yeah.
love the internet. I think the internet is great. And when I say internet, because, elder millennial, when I
I
say the
know.
internet, I mean like social, whatever.
Right, right.
So I'm a huge proponent for that, especially because if, depending on your career field or whatever you're doing, sometimes you don't have a lot of time to go out and meet people. So I do think
Yeah.
that it is an excellent tool to have in your dating repertoire, dating artillery, your knapsack of dating, whatever dating tools.
Mm-hmm.
I went out, and it's so funny just drawing back on what you said a little bit earlier, Jojo. I remember like going out and not even knowing like where are the hot spots now in Atlanta, or
Yeah.
like what do I even wear, because I feel like single clothes versus girlfriend clothes versus wife clothes were all very different for me. And they still kind of
Mm-hmm.
are. So, I'm wearing matronly stuff now. Granted, it's very nice. It's very regal. It's, the most delicate of fabrics. But like, I'm wearing a damn maxi dress to dinner when I'm married, and I need to be wearing something that's slightly below my ass, being single out here. So I'm like looking around. I'm so uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what cool devil worshiping music is the hottest song out now.
Right.
I don't know anything. And so I kind of had to get like a crash course from like some of my girlfriends that were single. Like, okay, well, I don't know what to wear. Can you just, can you go on website and put some stuff in a cart and I'll just log on and just
Yeah.
get it? Because I had no idea at all what to do, where the places were, how to dress, how to even, wear my hair to even just feel like me, as opposed to like some bag that's been in a, unfulfilling marriage. And I'm just like, I'm just here surviving. So
Right.
yes, I enjoyed going out and meeting people. Because I didn't have to do anything. I was just like, okay, like, universe, do your thing. This is how I'm presenting myself, and everybody's going to come to me. So my energy just was so bright and magnetic that I literally could not go anywhere. I mean, Jojo, I was at the freaking tag office and the man's coming out. He's like, please, hey, here's my card. If there's anything that I can do for you. I'm like, I don't know what you could do for me at the tag office, but yes. So,
You right?
yeah, I liked going out and meeting people. It was great. But
Yeah.
I also think living in a larger metropolis also really helps.
Sure,
So yeah.
sure. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Cause I live in a really, really small town, like blink and you miss it
Mm-hmm.
kind of small town. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but see, I don't online date either.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I did, make a Tinder account. This was like years ago. And
Okay.
I went, I was like, I wanted to see like who all was, like on, plus I had this like fear of, oh God, what if I like see someone I know? That means that they see me. And, like I
Right. But
just
then you
feel
see
like
them
it.
too.
Exactly. I know, but I was like, I felt like there would be this spotlight on me. Like if I just like, I'll be walking out to get the mail out of the mailbox and my neighbors are going to be like, you're on Tinder.
Be like, you are too, but you're married. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
I saw you on the Tinder too.
But I mostly, like I said, just, kind of wanted to see like what was out there, And,
Mm-hmm.
now I met one person out of all these years. Like I've only ever met one person from online for, well, I say that too, right? Online, or internet
Mm-hmm.
dating. Um, and it was enough that I never did it again because
Mm.
we talked for like a couple of weeks, like texting and stuff. And there were looking back, there's some red flags that I just didn't pick up on. I mean, I'm going to sound really stupid, but there
No,
were a
no
couple of
judgment.
times. Thank you. There were a couple of times where, and this was before we even met, where like we'd be texting, right? And he'll say, like, he would text, I'll call you in 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes goes by and no phone call, whatever. I don't care. An hour would go by and then he would text me or
Mm.
call me and say, why didn't you call me in 10 minutes? I've been waiting. And I'm like, what? Like you said you were going to
Um,
call me. So it's, and what it is, I think he had a drinking problem. So
oh
I think
God.
he would like look at the text on his phone and forget that he was the one who said it, assume that I was the one that said it, and then sit there and wait for me to call when it was him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that. It's like at first I was like,
I
okay, well, is he the baddie? Is he the baddie in the situation? Where it's like, oh, like, no, we're not chasing you. No, there's only one bad bitch in this dynamic, and it is always us. So,
exactly. But I was like, no, I cannot do this. I cannot with this person. Uh,
right.
yeah, just ridiculous. But
Yeah.
were there any like uh crazy experiences that you had or like just a bad date?
Yeah. Okay. So here's one. And now I'm like, I don't even think I can go to this restaurant anymore because I think he frequents there. And I'm like, because So one day, I'm off of work. And I enjoy being a lady of leisure. I said, you know what? There's a particular salad that I like at this really popular restaurant in Atlanta. And I said, I'm going to go today. And I said, I'm gonna sit at the bar and I'm going to see what the day provides. So,
Hmm,
because that's one of my things, the day provides for itself, whatever. I just show
right.
up and give good energy. So I'm sitting at the bar and there's this guy kind of sitting on the other side of the bar. I'm like, okay, he's handsome, whatever. Then I think we start talking about like college sports. Well, I'm a big, well, I'm not a big fan. I am a fan of a team, and I also graduated from the university. And so we started talking about the school. And so,
Hmm.
you know, me being my captivating self, I'm like, well, come over because I can't hear you. We're yelling across the bar. Just come over and sit next to me. So, you know, because I'm a player, got to keep it P, right? So he
Yeah.
comes over, we're chatting. He's like, "Oh, you know, let's have a drink. I'll take care of your lunch, whatever." I'm like, "Oh, thanks so much." I think I give him my business card so he knows I stand on it. I stand on business. And so he ends up texting me. We're texting, I think he calls, and he starts sending me photos of himself, like selfies.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay. I was like, this is weird. But he's, you know, he's like the handsome, like Al B. Sure type, like back in the day. So like
Okay.
looks like he might have been in the movie New Jack City. So he's kind of got that old school kind of swag going on. Tall guy. So,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. So I'm like, okay, he's feeling himself, whatever. This is weird. He probably won't end up being my boyfriend, but cool. Just add him, you know, add him to the harem.
Right, right.
So we end up going on a date later on. It's nice. We get a seafood tower. We go walk out by the river, have, you know, uh, a port wine while we're doing that. And, you know, he was just saying weird stuff where he was very focused on, he had been previously married. Still
Hmm.
focused on that. I'm like, well, I don't know why he continues to tell me this stuff. He's telling me about like his heyday, and I think he played sports professionally for like a sneeze of time, maybe like a blink. And I'm like, okay, like
Mm.
cool story. But I also live in Atlanta. I also graduated from a D1 school. So, you know, I'm not easily impressed by anything.
Right, right, right.
But he begins to call me afterwards, call me a lot, a lot, a lot. I tell him that, you know, I'm going to go out with my friends one evening. He's like, well, I don't want you to go. And I was like, well, you know, I feel bad for you because your wish is not going to be fulfilled. I'm going to go out. And he's like, well, let me order
Yeah.
you an Uber. You're not going to order me an Uber because then you're going to know my address. And you've already sent me a lot of selfies in the beginning. So something just tells me that you're not right in the head.
Yeah.
So I did ghost him because he was weird. And then he would say, you know,
Yeah.
well, at least tell me, at least write me back. Well, no, I'm not going to write you back. And also one thing that I did, just like I did with all the other men, is I went to the internet and I used the Google to search up on him. And I found him on a blog site, a very popular blog site from like 2007. And I was like, oh, this man's been in these streets for a long time. Because this was like in 2025 or something. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was done. I was like, I dodged a bullet. He probably, I'm not saying his name, so
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, incriminating him, but he might have had me
Yeah.
locked up in a house or something later on while he's taking selfies and I'm beating on the door. Who knows? But that's probably as weird as it got for me. There was one other situation where I met a man. He was 10 years younger than me. And I looked at him and I
Mhm.
said, you know, you have a child? And he said, yeah. I said, how old is your child? He's like, oh, he turned 1. I said, you're still with the mom. He's like, how do you know that? I'm like, because I'm 10 years older than you, you fucking dimwit. And we were out and I said, you're still with the mom. I said, I hope she walks in here right now and kicks your ass. And I said, I'm going to encourage her. But I still sat there. We still ate dinner because I didn't care. You know, I'm like, I don't care. This is your ass. I'm not in a relationship. You are.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
it never went anywhere. And I let him know, hey, this is not going to go anywhere, like
Yeah.
ever. And I need for
Oh
you
my
to focus on your
gosh.
family. But yeah, just those two. Everything else is fine.
That is so funny. I love that. I had one just completely insane date. It
Ooh,
was a blind date that a girl that I
okay.
worked with set me up on. And I don't know what possessed her to set me up with this man. I mean, unless she secretly hated me, like, I don't
Oh,
know why she thought that this would be a good match. Um,
what
thank
happened?
God I didn't let him like pick me up. I met him out at this
Hmm.
restaurant and, it was like a Ruby Tuesday or something like that. And,
Uh-huh.
anyway, we get there, we go inside and we sit at the bar and
Hmm.
he just orders like without, any conversation about it. He orders, a mozzarella stick appetizer and each of us a
Hmm.
drink. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'm not you know, like, oh, you know, you have to do this and all this stuff or whatever. So, but we start talking, and he literally talks the entire time about his ex-girlfriend, and like most of it just negative, 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 like she's all these horrible things. But then he goes into how she was the best sex he's ever had.
Oh my God. And he went over to her house probably afterwards, standing outside in her driveway.
That's what I'm thinking. But he was now, oh, and another thing too is that this is before smartphones. So like, you know, right before smartphones became a thing. So like, remember the old like T9 texting, like, you know, 55522. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how it was at the
so
time.
fun. So fun.
Right. So we, that's important later, but, so anyway, at this date, it's just going terrible, right? Like he's telling me how he just doesn't think anyone will ever compare in the bedroom to this ex-girlfriend, yada, yada, yada.
Oh.
And I start, you know, oh, look at the time. Like, you know, I'm definitely going to go.
Right.
And so he forgot his wallet. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Like, you know what? I would have paid 10 mozzarella sticks orders to get out of here. Like, so, so I'm like, whatever. So we're walking out, and now I guess I can't really fault him, like, or say anything bad. The fact that he did walk me to my car, I didn't want him to, but it is the gentlemanly thing to do. So I can't like rag on him about it. So do you remember the movie Hitch with Will Smith and Kevin James? Okay. Do you remember in the movie where he's telling Kevin James about how when you walk a woman to the door, if she is like fiddling with her keys, it's like she's giving you time to like make a move, you know? So I make sure I have my keys in my hand. I'm already beeping the door halfway across the parking lot. Like I am not giving any signs.
Right.
Well, he stands in front of my door so I can't get in, and goes in for a kiss. And I'm like, oh God. But unfortunately, this is also, I was really bad at boundaries back then. Like I hated hurting people's feelings and making them uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. So I'll be uncomfortable. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, it's just a kiss, get through it. You never have to talk to this guy ever again. So of course the kiss was, you know, horrible. It was like he was eating a hot dog versus a kiss. It was weird.
Good God. Yeah.
So I finally leave. I make it out, right? And I'm driving home, and I hear my phone ding that I've gotten a text. But I do not text and drive, especially back then.
Right.
So I wait till I get home, pull in the driveway. I look at the phone. It's from him. And now, again, because this was not a smartphone, like there's no autocorrect. So like how you type something is how you typed it. And he wrote to me, I can't wait to give you the best organism of your life.
Well,
even if he had gotten the word correct, what made him think that date went so well that I was going to respond positively to that text? Like, oh, how about right now? Future JoJo here. Unfortunately, Shiri and I had a 60-second technical difficulty here, so just a heads up. That's why it sounds like we just changed gears out of nowhere. Something that, you know, I kind of realized too is that dating after divorce doesn't, like, it also means that you're not just meeting like the person, but you're, clocking patterns and noticing tone and how someone even reacts to the word no. Like
Hmm.
when you, I guess like as you were dating and when you started to get to where like you knew you wanted to maybe settle down, like before, when you met your significant other now, like how did you navigate that like without being too like overly guarded or you know what I mean? Like just kind of being really
Yeah.
open to that in a healthy way.
Well, first, let me say, anytime I just even think about this man, it brings a smile to my face. So I hope by the
Oh.
time this airs, like we're still together. I mean, there's no reason why we wouldn't be, but you just never know because, you think about marriage, oh, we're going to be together forever. And then you're not like married anymore.
I
So,
know.
you're
I
only in
know.
control of yourself, right? Like you can't control anybody else,
Yeah.
which has been one of the things like since I accepted that notion, like it's been so freeing and my mind is just so much better and less anxiety.
Yeah.
But the honestly, I feel like our relationship worked so well. And even in the beginning, because we had both been previously married. So we had both been
Mm.
married before, we were both divorced, and then we both also have children. So it's kind of one
Okay.
of those things where you may have heard the saying, like, what's understood doesn't have to be explained. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, we explain everything. So he had learned, either in his marriage or now being removed from being married, that communication is paramount. So
Yeah.
he's a conversationalist. I obviously love to yap, which is why you and I, we just have this incredible bond. But we talked about everything. So I felt like, and I've told him this before, I felt like we were together in a relationship even before our first date. So it was like 10
Oh.
days between like from when we met to when we went on our first date because we just kind of talked about everything and he just had questions to kind of like get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of do recommend, um, in some cases, now, of course, there's always outliers, but I do kind of recommend dating somebody that's kind of like similar, kind of like, a like thing. Now,
Yeah.
if you're healed, check to make sure that the person is healed. Now, if you are unhealed, then yeah, get with another unhealed person so you guys can create fire together. Don't go wrecking somebody else's life if you feel like you're not there. If you're not healed, don't go
Yeah.
with, someone else. And I think dating in divorce, once you're divorced and dating, just allows so much space for so much honesty where you can be like, okay, well, this is
Right.
not what I'm into, but I've enjoyed, these 5 days getting to know you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so what was your question again?
No, you're answering it beautifully, actually. Just that, how did
Okay.
you, um, when you like kind of realized that, hey, this person is someone that I could really be serious about. How do you navigate that from like in a way where you're not being so guarded that you don't let this person in?
Yeah, so that's kind of been a challenging thing sometimes. I feel like just anytime you're dating in an older age, right, where you've had some living up under your belt, I
Yeah.
think choosing a partner that's able to see that. So definitely choosing a partner with a higher EQ where they're able to see like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk. Or, you sound like you're kind of slipping away. What's going on? What's on your mind? You sound stressed. And we
Mm-hmm.
do that with each other. I think communication just really is paramount and laying it all out there because one thing, the way that I approach dating, after I was no longer married is, okay, well, this is me. And you can either take it or
Mm-hmm.
leave it because I like myself and I've had to fight to be this person, to figure out
Yeah.
also who I am as this, middle-aged woman that's learning who she is as a woman essentially for the first time, because there was so much chaos around, after I birthed my daughter, there was so much chaos in being married, where it's like, okay, who am I? Once the chaos is removed, once everything is settled and there's peace and quiet, who am I and who am I choosing to be? So
Yeah.
in that, I was like, oh, I like me. And all these things, all this negative, or lackluster feedback that I had been receiving, and not from a narcissistic standpoint, but it may have just been noise. And it may not have even been me. It can't be me all the time. So it may have been a reflection of things that individual didn't like about themselves. So I had to also acknowledge that part and not hate myself for people actually hating themselves, and say, this is who I am and I like it. And I'm not going to try to fit into some type of space to be appeasing to an individual. If they don't like who I am, I can further develop myself, yes, but who I am is 100% enough. So
Yeah.
speaking from that place of like honesty and openness, it allowed me to kind of like weed out individuals, or for people to also disqualify themselves.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't have to be so guarded to where I can't receive love. It is what it is, and I am who I am.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. Too, when you were talking about like how obviously, communication is so important on both ends, but both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, though, if I feel like so many people, they say, oh, communication, yes, that's number one, or it's super important. But then, they vanish like a Victorian child with tuberculosis.
I love the imagery. I'm like, oh, God.
You know what I mean? It's like they say
Yes.
it, they say all the what you want to hear, but then they really don't have the goods to back it up. They don't do the
Mm-hmm.
things that we need from them, even simple, things,
Mm-hmm.
being accountable and dependable, things like that. But yeah, like dating for me, after divorce really kind of teaches you that, peace really isn't boring. I mean, I think when we're young, we think that like, oh, peace sounds so boring. But
Yeah.
when you date chaos or you're
Mm-hmm.
going through chaos, then when you experience it again, or you start to see the signs of it again later, your like nervous system starts going like, nope, we're not about that life anymore. Like I
Right.
don't want to deal with that.
Right.
So yeah, it's really, it's sort of empowering, the things that you learn about yourself, especially after divorce. You're
Yeah.
learning this whole different person. I feel like that old me, like that wasn't even me really. It was like a movie I watched a long time ago or something.
Yes.
It's how far
Yes.
removed I feel. Yeah.
So far
You
removed,
get that
maybe
too?
even, yes, or maybe even just like a shell of an individual where it's like, I was literally just surviving. I was not living, and I certainly wasn't
Yes.
thriving like I am now. I think also, especially, probably for all individuals, but I know, for mothers too, sometimes it'll be when we're in these situations where, and especially if you're hearing it from a former partner when they were your partner, well, who's going to want you? Here you are with this kid, and you're 30 years old, you're 40, you're
Yeah.
50, you're not going to find anybody out there. Well, that's a lie. And as long as there are humans in this world, somebody's going to want you, and it's a whole nother conversation for another day, but you've got to want yourself first. But even the way,
Mm-hmm.
because I was a single mom before I was married, and I said, well, I can't allow myself to be a statistic, or I can't allow myself to be, something that we see on TV where they're making it seem like, oh, struggling mom and, a single mom who
Mm-hmm.
works two jobs. Like, I love Reba, but, we're not going to sing into the struggle. So I said, okay,
Right.
how can I flip this? How can I make this a positive? Okay, well, I'm a woman that's single that has a child. Okay, well, here are some facts that these men will know. Okay, well, at least they know I'm getting in the bed at some point because this was an immaculate conception. Okay, so we know that she's screwing. There's a check mark there. Okay, her kid looks healthy. So what do you know? So that means she's probably got snacks. All right, 2 checks there. She's going to have fruit snacks and juice boxes and probably some peanut butter crackers, if nothing else. Her pantry's going to be stocked. And she also
Right.
looks like a good mom. So then she's also probably patient. So I use
Mm-hmm.
something that could have been looked at as a scarlet letter, being like, oh, she's this woman with a child,
Yeah.
as something else where it's like, you know what? This made me a better person. So
Right.
yeah, honestly, I feel like my stock went up when I became a mom. And then also,
Yeah.
with being married and being divorced. Okay, well, it shows like, okay, well, there was some man that said, yes, I want to be with her at some point. Okay, so we know that she's
Mm-hmm.
able to turn a tide with a man's heart, because no man says, when I grow up, I want to be a husband. So something has happened where he has wanted to make some type of commitment. There was some type of agent
Yeah.
of change or a catalyst. And also,
Right.
we also see that she's more than likely not going to put up with enough junk, because we see that she left. So there was something that happened that was so egregious where she
Mm.
said, you know what, I got to walk out because I got to respect myself. So
Yeah.
I think that these are all great qualities where I think us ladies need to think about those things before we start being hard on ourselves or saying, nobody's going to want me because of this, that, or whatever. That is all freaking noise. And you have
Mm-hmm.
accomplished so many things that, you really should get 15,000 gold stars, and someone should throw you a parade for accomplishing. So
Yeah.
that's
I
just my
love
little
that
two
so
cents. I've
much.
always got to have a little sermon there, but there's that.
I really, really love that, like, your attitude and your take, like the way you see things, because to me, and I don't feel like that I represent, every,
Mm-hmm.
single mom out there, but I am a single mom. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that how easily it is, how easy it is to, um, how your brain starts telling you all this negative stuff about
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Even before divorce, but especially after divorce, about all
Mm-hmm.
all the things that are wrong with you, why you're now a divorced woman, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you just so were able to, like, stop that from happening, and take it and make it like this, such a beautiful expression of how amazing you are, because you are.
Oh,
And
oh,
I just love
Jojo.
that. I love that about you. I think that's wonderful. And I really, really hope that there are women that are listening to this that maybe are in the beginning part of that journey. Like maybe they're just newly divorced,
Yeah.
um, where they can do this too and incorporate that into their life, so that they don't do what people like me did, and learn these things way
Mm-hmm.
too late, like years later. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, I think you're awesome.
You're so sweet. I think you're awesome too. You're doing great
Aw.
things. You're doing great, sweetie.
Yeah, right. Well, there was one thing too that I had here that I was just kind of curious, like, what your, like, we'll say your first reaction is to men that say these certain things. And I'm going to read a couple of them to you, and I just want you to tell me, like, what your initial response would be when a man says
Okay.
this.
All
Okay.
right. Let's fire away.
So the first one is, I'm bad at texting.
I'm bad at texting means that he has a lot probably going on where he's entertaining other women. So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he says, like, makes it a point to say, I don't do drama.
Oh, he is the drama. He is the biggest drama queen. He is the drama.
Yes,
He
yes.
is.
And says that all of his exes are crazy.
Oh no, he's toxic. Completely toxic. Because here's the thing, and this is what I've always said, no woman wakes up and says, I'm about to be crazy as hell for the rest of my life. So there is something, there has been a driving force that has been like, okay, you have gotten me to this point, so yeah, they may all be crazy, but why? But why? Let's unpack that, sir. So yeah, no.
Right. What's the common denominator there?
Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What are there any other things that if you hear a man say, it's like an instant no for you, like no way?
Yes, and I know this now because I'm with my sweet man. But one of those where I'm working, or like I'm busy working. I take that as you're lying, and because here's the thing, you could be working, and I typically attract men that are very successful in their careers, like they're devoted to their careers. A lot of times they will travel for their job, or they work really crazy hours. So, and how the saying goes, if you want a successful man, then you gotta put up with dealing with a busy man. But when I tell you, my man, I mean, he's literally on a flight to Asia right now, where he's going to be gone for 12 weeks working. Wow. But I know. But, this is what he loves, and this is what he was doing before I met him. So I can't get mad at what he's doing. And, being raised an only child, I enjoy my alone time too. But he makes it a point to talk to me, FaceTime me. Doesn't matter where he is in the world. Doesn't matter what he's doing. Where he is like, you are the most important thing in my life. Nothing is more important than you. Aww. And not just saying it, but doing it. I know. It's so crazy. I didn't even know. I cried one day when we first started dating. I was in the shower crying by myself, and I'm like, I didn't know this could happen for me. So, because you see those people, they're like, oh, we're so in love, and I'm married. My best friend is like, shut up, you goddamn liar. That is not your best friend. But you only understand it when it happens. But
I know.
I think when men say that, oh, I'm working, I'm busy. No. Because you don't have time to be like, hey, seconds. Thinking about you. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. With their lying asses.
No. Yeah. No, there's one that I've noticed a lot. Like when I was saying how I downloaded Tinder and I was looking a lot at the different profiles. Something I noticed a lot of men say, and I would assume maybe there are women that say this too. I don't know, but I only know what the men were saying. But a lot of men put in their profile that their kids come first. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely wonderful. But I kind of feel like I don't know why. It just bothers me that they say it, because to me, it's like, no fucking shit. Of course your kids come first. So if you feel like you have to put me in check, that, I'm already annoyed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Is that just me being petty?
No, it's not you being petty at all. And I'm probably gonna say something that's a bit controversial, but I'm okay with that because that's what keeps the conversations going in the after party, hosted by No Hard Feelings, kinda. But
I just love you.
But the way that it is if you are looking for marriage, your children do not come first.
Mm.
Your children can be a priority for you, but they do not come first if
Hmm.
you are looking to date to marry, because in your marriage
Yeah.
your spouse comes first, because your kids, you're going to rear them, you're going to raise them up, and they're going to leave you to go live their own life. And that does not mean that you don't provide for your children and take care of them, and their
Right.
safety is
Right.
number one. Their safety is always paramount. I will always advocate for the safety of children,
Yeah.
but your
Yeah.
kid does not come first, because when you marry, you are becoming one with that individual. Now, how you going to be one with them if
Hmm.
you're trying to be one with your kid? And
Right. Right.
you cannot do that. There's a book that I cannot remember who wrote it, but it's called Homecoming, and it talks about healing a lot of different traumas in your life, like relational, parental, and all these other things,
Uh-huh.
where the writer talks about how sometimes parents will use children to be like their emotional support, and it's quite abusive to the child, and sometimes we don't even
Yes.
think about it. But no, your children are not. If you are dating to marry, and especially if you are in a relationship, a serious one, your children do not come first.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard of that book. That sounds so familiar to me. And
Hmm.
I can even remember, I don't know why I remember this, but like when I was a kid and my mom would watch Oprah, the Oprah show,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there was
Hmm.
a woman that I don't remember now if she wrote a book or what it was, but she was on the show and she said exactly what you just said, that,
Hmm.
your spouse comes first, and everybody gasped and, was so shocked that this woman had said this. But when she went on to explain it, it was made perfect sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that doesn't mean that you don't love your kids to pieces. Of course you do, but
Right.
it's two different kinds of love. The one you have for
Right.
your spouse and the one you have for your children. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I totally agree with you. And I think as far as my, um, annoyance, to seeing people
Hmm.
write that is more just the fact that it's not even like the whole psychology behind it. It's just
Right.
me being annoyed that you feel you need to tell me that, like I'm an
Yeah.
idiot or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. It's kind of disgusting because it's like, well, why wouldn't, like you said, like, no shit. But it's also like, why are you trying to set up ultimatums that don't even exist? Like
Right, right.
they're being problematic before there's any type of anything. Because then, oh, you're gonna get
Yes.
mad if I say, my dog, or my salamander that this guy, the scientist man from Ruby Tuesdays created for me. If I say my salamander comes first, okay, now I'm the asshole. So like, whatever. Of course, your kids are important
Yeah.
to you. They should be. If you're a bad parent, I'm not gonna want to be with you anyway. So yeah, it's kind of disgusting for them to
Right.
say that.
It really
Yeah.
is. I'm so glad we're on the same page. Well, of course we
Yeah.
are. Of course we are.
Right.
Oh, well, before we end the episode, I just need to say thank you so much for coming back and doing a second episode with me. I think it just really proves that we both make some questionable decisions when we're having fun.
Yes. Those are the
And
best times.
I, aren't they? I know. I just adore you. You are so much fun.
Oh, Jojo, I love you too. And this was such a joy. And I'm very humbled to be asked to be on another episode. And I mean, this is fun. I love it. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. I'm so glad we doing this show, I have gotten now to meet, so many people from literally all over the world. And,
Hmm.
people share their stories with me, and which I do not take lightly. And, but through that, I have actually now made some really great friendships that I just treasure so much, and I never would have met otherwise. I wouldn't have met you
Yeah.
if I hadn't started a
Yeah.
podcast. So,
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful for it. And I love that. I definitely don't want to lose touch. And I know there's going to be more things that we do together in the future.
For
Definitely be
sure.
bringing you back.
Yes. Yes. And you got to make your way down here to Atlanta too, because it's just a cornucopia of
Yes.
shit. So come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. We'll record an episode in person together. That'll be really fun. Where can everybody find you online and stalk you lovingly?
Yes, I love a good lovingly stalking. You can find me on the internet. You can find me on the internet on Instagram under Shiribi. That is spelled Shiribee. The one and only Shiribi.
Awesome. Awesome. And I will also have a link to you on my website as well, so they can get to you either way.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so we've figured out, right, that single divorced women aren't bitter. We're just no longer impressed by charm, potential, or a man knowing how to text good morning, right?
Correct.
We've already done the marriage thing. We've seen the effort drop off in real time, and we're not signing up for the sequel. Dating
That's right.
after divorce really teaches you the value of peace, because once you've had it, anything that threatens it starts looking like a giant flashing danger ahead warning sign. And if this episode made you laugh, cringe, or rethink a few past situations, that's not our fault. That's experience catching up to you. Shiri, thank you again for hanging out, being honest, and casually validating every thought I've ever had while dating.
You're so welcome, Jojo. I love you, and I love being on No Hard Feelings. Kinda.
Oh, thank you. And I love you too. If you want to keep these conversations going, make sure you join Shiri and I on the private Facebook group, No Hard Feelings, Kinda, the After Party. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe. It helps the show and lets the algorithm know that you enjoy emotionally honest content with a little bite. I'll see you guys next time right here on No Hard Feelings, Kinda.